got it, my mic is start. And for the purposes of recording, good evening or good morning whenever you're watching this. Hope you're well. There's quite a few people seeing this on record, so if you have got any questions when you are doing it, please don't hesitate to call me as always. And hopefully you'll be feeling really nice after this. Of course, anyone who is live at the moment, please just stop me when you need to. So I'm just going to bring this down. Right, everyone, we're actually going to start up today, if possible. And don't worry, I'm going to move the camera around a little bit, but don't worry too much. As long as I can roughly see you guys, that's fine. Just move this out of the way. As the others know, but Karina won't yet, invariably I've got dog, children, husband wandering around. Please just ignore that, because I've got this on for a reason, so you can't hear them. Can be a tiny bit chaotic, but please just ignore it. Invariably I will I'll be talking throughout this, so you don't necessarily have to look, because I will explain it, but I will be doing this with you. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll be doing it. So look up and just make sure that you're following. If you're not sure, as I said, in particular, Karina, please just stop me. All right, my lovelies. So first things first, let's just make sure that we're a little bit more in the room as opposed to worrying about everything else that we've done today. So I just want you to stand nice and upright, okay, and just relax your shoulders down and close your eyes for me, okay? I do want you to sort of think a little bit about your posture. We'll go into more detail on that in a minute, but just close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. The breath is in through your nose and out through your mouth. So deep breath in. Just relax your shoulders when you're doing this. And one more. And deep breath out. Wonderful. Open your eyes if you want to. Arms all the way up, nice and tall. Clasp your hands together at the top. Sorry, I'm just out of camera there. And then we're going to lift nice and slowly, really nice and slowly. Lift up, nice and tall. Lifting down and bringing your hands down. We're going to do a little sweep, so just bend your knees slightly. All the way back up. Hands together, lifting up. Nice and slow, nice and tall. Really big stretch. Rolling it down and releasing. And let's go one more. All the way up. And lift, 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 lift. Nice and tall. Watch your balance. Try and concentrate. Still your mind. Back down and release. Lovely. Okay, I'm just going to move the camera very slightly, so we'll start at the top. So let's roll our shoulders. Really nice, big, considerate rolls, okay? And forwards. Now, I'm really asking you to do this, but I want you to bring one hand up and over. And then we're just going to tilt your head to the side. Bring your ear near your shoulder and bring the other ear away from your shoulder. Release your hand and it will just spring up. And then up and over to the other side. Just create a little bit of space. Holding it here, release your hand and up. I'm just going to exaggerate that a tiny bit further. So hand back over again, and I want you to put your hand on your shoulder, and then we're just going to release that slightly stronger. Just be very gentle with this, it is quite strong. And release. And exactly the same the other side. So up and over on one, hand on your shoulder on the other. And release. Lovely. Okay, just stay where you are. I'm just going to move. So roll your shoulders down and look down. Now, shoulders are stupidly tight on everyone at the moment, just based on what we're having to do at the moment and working from home. Lift yourself up and release. Let's go again. One more, all the way around, big circle. Drop your head, look down towards the floor. Nice deep breaths. Hold it there. You should feel a little bit of a strain on your neck, just stretching out. Bring your head up and relax it down. So it should feel a lot more loose now. Okay, so let's work those shoulders a little bit more. So we're going to come up and over and just roll. Might be a bit clicky, might be a bit cracky. Just try and work that synovial fluid, which is inside your joints here, and just warming up a bit. It is really cold as well, so if you have been outside, just make sure you get nice and warm. Rolling it the other way, up and over, just being careful not to hit anything in your house. Okay, so let's bring our hands back, so in the sort of swallow position there, bringing it forwards and overlap. Back, squeeze, forwards, overlap. Hopefully that makes sense. Back and squeeze. Squeeze your shoulder blades and then release your shoulder blades. Squeeze and release. Bring your hands down. Wonderful. Just give them a little shake out. Okay, so let's roll those wrists. We are going to be using the wrists today. If they are feeling particularly tight or particularly weak, then we'll have to strap them. But you know your own wrists. You know what you're able and capable of. So just give them a shake out, especially if you've been typing a lot today. Okay, so let's gonna work a little bit on the back now. So we're sort of working our way down. So first things first, I want you to head chin to chest, and we're going to roll it down. Nice, slow, deliberate roll down. Curl that back, really cat curl that back. Hands all the way down, and then if you can reach the floor, fantastic. I'm just going to move the camera down. If you can't, don't worry at all. We'll get you there. So we're all the way down, and then eventually, last thing, you're going to drop your head. Really, really, really nice and relaxed. Okay. Now, just think you're a rag doll. So I just want you to sort of rock. Sorry, talking into my jumper. Rock very gently from one side to the other. Just releasing out those legs. Just really, really loosen your arms. Okay, come back to the center, taking one hand in each crease of your elbow, and then drop your head. So you've created a little square with your arms, and just drop your head in between. And just try and relax, really try and relax. Good. Just release those arms down. They should feel a bit longer, which is nice. Your shoulders have relaxed. Okay, now we're going to deliberately go semicircle round. So you're going to come all the way around. Just relax. Hold it there. And semicircle all the way around for that. Now, the blood does rush to your head slightly on this when you're doing this. So just be aware if you are suddenly feeling quite lightheaded when you stand up, please just be careful. That's why we're going to stand up slowly. Come back to the center. There's the dog. And then we're going to roll up super slowly. Stack your back. Nice and slowly. Stack, stack, stack. Like Lego bricks. Head last. Give yourself a second because the blood will rush back down again. And arms up. Nice and tall. Deep breath in. And relax and control back down again. Lovely. Right, just give your legs a little shake. Okay, so your back, this plane is should be feeling good. Let's have a look at this way now, okay? So we're going to do a little exercise. It's a tiny bit more dynamic than we would do in the stretch class, but I want you to bring your hands up to your chest. I'm just going to move the camera slightly. So hands up to your chest. Bend your knees very, very slightly, and then we're going to rock from one side to the other. That's it. And just get, if you can, there might be a little click or a little pop that comes from your back, if you're lucky. If not, this should just feel quite nice. Okay, we're going to come back to center. We're going to expand that slightly, so just bring your hands out. Just please be aware of slightly bending your knees because it ends up cracking your knees otherwise. And it's not really that I'm doing it for, it's for your back. So come on, this should be a little bit more of a expansion on what we're doing now. Up and over. That's it. Okay, bringing it back to center and bringing your arms down. Right, so this plane should be starting to feel there. And the last one I want to get is that way, okay? So bringing one hand on your hip, I want you to really sort of focus on shooting your arm across, not over. So across, we'll get your lats actually back here, those muscles. Just shoot it up and point up towards the corner of your room. That should be quite strong on your back, but also right by your shoulder. Okay, and bringing it back and then shooting it across the other way. Should be quite a nice stretch, this one. And bringing it back, let's go the same again. One up and over. And the other side up and over. Good. Okay, bringing it back. Just give your legs a shake and everything a little shake. Right, okay, let's we're going to bring it down a little bit now so we can work on those legs a bit more. So we're going to roll it down. I'll never ask you just to get down. We're going to roll down. And bringing your hands out, we're going to go into a downward dog position. So a piked, your head is down, your bum is up. You're pushing your heels back towards the ground. Your hands are nice and strong on the floor. Arms are straight and your back is straight. So this should feel all the way down the back of your legs and back and shoulders. Just hold it here for a sec. Okay, we're going to bring those toes up. So you're coming up onto your toes and then push it back down again. And let's go again, all the way up onto your toes and push back down. Good. Now up, and then we're going to come forwards onto all fours. Just going to check you can see me okay. Yep, should still be good. Okay, so when you're on all fours, I want you to just sort of, right, okay, I feel stable, I'm not going to go anywhere, I'm not left or right, leaning forwards and backwards leaning, I feel very stable. To help with this, if you close your eyes and just do a little tiny rock from one side to the other. Hello, Teddy. And then from backwards and forwards. Then you should get to a midpoint and feel really comfortable. The other thing is that I could put a glass of water on your back and it wouldn't spill, so it needs to be completely straight. Okay, so we're not arched and you're not sunk down, so it is neutral. The way to do that is just engage your core, just engage your tummy muscles a little bit, because that will just keep you straight and stable. So a little bit of work to do here, but first of all, I want to stretch out, as I mentioned, if you've been walking a lot, your calves. So just put one knee forwards, and then you're going to straighten the leg, putting your hands slightly further forwards, and then just really push into that. So you're tucking your toe under and really straighten. If you can see that position there, you need to get a little bit of momentum against it, but that should be right on your calf muscle. And just try and relax your shoulders. Okay, bringing that in, and then we're going to swap. So bringing it out, and exactly the same thing the other side. So just push that back, tuck your toe under, and just get a little bit of resistance there. Holding it there. Keep your hips, so your hips aren't twisting. Keep your hips facing forwards, facing the mat, and then bringing yourself back in. Just sit down, back onto your heels if that's comfortable to do so, and then we're just going to roll those wrists a little bit and shake out. Okay, so coming back onto all fours, I want to start with a little bit of core stabilization. We should be feeling quite stretched out now. The only other thing I want to stretch out in particular is your hip flexors, because they're usually super, super tight. But hopefully everything's feeling a bit more sort of loose now. So let's come onto all fours. And I want you to bring out, first of all, just bring out one leg. So you're straightening that leg. It's not going anywhere yet. So the first thing we're going to do is lift it up and down. So we're coming up and down. Then you're coming out to the side and back. Okay, so we're just going to Carry on with those movements, up and down, out and back. Just touch your toe on the floor, up, down, out and back. Now, I want you to really pay attention to what your hips are doing. Your leg will know what it's doing fairly swiftly. But are those hips staying parallel to the floor? Or are you starting to twist all over the place? Just really try and concentrate on keeping them parallel. Your core, if you just really slightly tighten your abs at the front, that will help. Out and back. And let's go one more. Up and down, out and back. Okay. Now what that would have done is woken up that side, but the other side had to hold it. So your glute muscles, your bum muscles on the other side may be like, oh my God, slightly. That's absolutely fine. That's exactly where it should be. So come back to neutral again. Just make sure that back's nice and flat. Then you're going to bring your leg out again. Just rebalance yourself. And we're going to lift up and down and then out the other way. Okay, really focus on quality of what you're doing. Okay, nice and neat and nice and controlled. You're not waving your leg around all over the place. It's very exact. Up and tap, out and tap. Just really keep that core nice and tight. Up, tap, out and tap. Let's go one more. And out and back again. Bring it in. Lovely. Sitting yourself back and just release your wrists, particularly if they are known to you to be relatively weak. Just keep doing that if you need to, okay? Right, so number of muscles should have woken up there. Core had to do a little bit. Glute muscles had to do a little bit. Hamstrings had to do a little bit. So let's fatigue those a little bit further. At any point, if you're like, ugh, just go back to what we were doing before, because I will keep advancing it. But some of the people in recording and live have done this a lot. So just make sure that you're doing to your level. So we're going to bring that foot out and I want you to lift it up. Okay, you're holding it there. Now rearrange your hands as you need to, and I want you to lift the opposite hand off the floor. Opposite hand. So you're holding it here. Now, if you're wobbling around all over the place, you're like, whoa, just put your hand down and reset. Reset yourself. So you keep your core nice and tight. Leg up, concentrate. Your stare is just in front of you. Keep your neck neutral. Excellent work. So you should be nice and flat. Bringing that hand down, bringing that leg down. Wonderful. Right, give yourself a little wiggle. It's very important, the wiggle. And then we're going to reset. So back nice and flat, bring that leg out and up. Nice and flat. Not so easy to see that you're flat, but just sort of think, right, okay, I feel flat, and use the camera. And then you're going to lift your hand, the opposite hand. Please make sure it's opposite because it's significantly harder. We'll get onto that. So if you think, oh, I'm leaning right back, just bring yourself back to neutral. If you're thinking, oh God, I'm leaning right forward and my arm's hurting, bring yourself back to neutral. Hold it there. And if you're wobbling around, just put a finger down, reset, back up. 2, 1, hand down, foot down. Wonderful. Bring it back in and reset, just a little wriggle. Okay, if that wasn't too bad, we're going to keep going. So bringing that original foot out, leg up. And now what I want you to do is bring your hand up and out, not just up. So we're here, out to the side. If you can see that, okay? So opposite hand out. And if you're feeling fine, you're like, yep, still stable, I want you to do a little salute and bring that to your forehead. Okay, hold it there. That elbow needs to be right out. So you really do need to concentrate on this. Trying really hard, super hard not to wriggle about. And 3, 2, 1, bring your hand back out, down, and release your leg. Little wriggle, reset if you need to. So let's go the opposite side. You're still with me? Bringing it out and up. Get that leg set first, hand out. Now you may well find that one side's quite significantly harder than the other. Very standard. If you're right-handed, your left is going to be harder. Hold it here. And then let's do a little salute. Hand to your temple, elbow out, hold it. And 3, 2, 1, bring your hand back out and down, leg down and in. Oh, again, if you need to, at any point, just sit back and then roll your wrists. Right, muscles should have warmed up by now. They should be thinking, oh God, okay, I'm doing something. That's exactly where we need them, perfect. Right, advancing that a little bit further. Again, if you want to stay with where you are, please do, and practice that further. But if not, coming with me. So now we're going to do some pulses. So this will fatigue your glutes a little bit more and your hamstrings. So if you want to bring your leg out, Ursula, I'm aware, darling, you've got 5 minutes. Okay, just a 5-minute timer if you've got to go at 5:30. Okay, so we bring that leg out. And then you, all right, darling. We're going to bring that straight and then we're going to pulse. So it's a tiny little movement, only a matter of inches, okay? Pulse, pulse. Keep it going. Good, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Excellent. Right, now what you should feel there, the back of your leg that was working should feel that, and your glute on the other side should feel that, okay? So if you're like, oh my God, that's why. It's both legs. Right, so just come back to neutral again, bring that leg out, other side, leg up to where you feel is straight, and then we're going to pulse up. So just keep your stare neutral, don't look up. That's it, just tiny little pulses, just making sure that you're leaning not too far back, not too far forward, just keep it going. Little pulse, back of your leg, glute should really be feeling this now. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down and release. Excellent, and roll it. Fantastic. Okay, right. One more variant on that. This is a bit harder. So if you're like, man, that was hard enough as it is, please stay where you are. We're going to try and do, it's just for fun, the same side. Okay, so try and lift everything up on the same side. It isn't that easy because you've got to balance on one side, but we'll give it a go. And if you're starting to just put your hand back down again, okay, it's easy to get out of. We're on the floor. So what I'd like you to do is we'll start with one side. Everyone usually starts with their stronger side, so give it a go. Put the hand that you're going to come onto just slightly further in the middle. You're going to bring that leg out. I want the leg out first. Then you're going to lean and bring that hand up. Okay. Once you've got it, I want you to bring the hand out. So holding it there. If you're managing to do this, amazingness. And 3, 2, and 1, bringing it down. Very good. If you manage that one, nice and steady. Right, let's go the other side. So we're going to swap sides. Just bring everything in, leg up first. Just make sure you feel balanced. And then you're going to bring that arm up. So you can either come straight up or just off the floor. Try and keep it there. Breathing. And 3, 2, 1. And back down. Well done if you managed that. That's brilliant. Good work. Right. Okay. So a little dog wag to get out of this. So this is a puppy wag. So you bring your feet and your knees together and you're just getting yourself out of that. It releases your muscles. Okay. Lovely. Bring yourself back to center. Fantastic. Right. So let's roll over and we're going to do some work on your back now. We're going to make sure that back is fully stretched out, but we're also going to work your core muscles, your oblique muscles in particular. So just take one leg, hold onto a knee, and you're just going to curl and roll down nice and slowly, okay? I'm very rarely going to ask you just to come straight flat on the floor. Just get yourself there comfortably. Bringing your feet onto the floor, knees hip width apart, so you've got a nice stable base. And I want you to put your hands with your palms facing upwards. So regarding your head, just just make sure comfortable. So if you have got bobble, hair bun, anything like that, just again, just make sure it's comfortable and you're not sort of straining your neck in any way. Now, this could be the first time that you've been on the floor flat. So just tilt your pelvis slightly and just give yourself a second, because if you haven't and you've been working your back all day, it may ache a little bit. Your hips and your hip bones and your pelvis might ache as well. So just give yourself a second just to adjust to the fact that we're on the floor flat. And now I'd like to take just nice deep breaths, 2 big deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Right, so if there was any sort of tension or spasm in your back, should be relaxed and behaving now. Right, to ensure that your lower ab muscles, which is this section here, are doing their job, I want them to be switched on first. So we're going to do a little bit of leg movement around, but I just want to make sure that they're actually working correctly. So there's a bit of exercise, and Karina, just bear with, because this isn't actually the easiest one. So we're going to practice switching them on before we do any moves. So deep breath in, hold. So I want you to, it's not hold your breath, it's hold the muscles. So engage them, especially down the lower ones, and just give them a prod, and they should feel more solid, even if it's slightly underneath. They should feel a little bit more solid, and you should still be able to breathe and then relax. Okay, so I'd like you to really feel the difference between them engaged and them soft. So at the moment, when you prod them, they should feel, yeah, no, they're okay. Deep breath in, out breath, engage them. And you should still be able to breathe. They should just be engaged and tighter. So that's where we need to be when we're doing the ab work, because they need to engage properly, or otherwise it won't be efficient. Okay, and relax. Right, so we're going to do that breathing and engage them, and then I want you to start moving your legs. So we're going to start gently. So deep breath in, engage. Okay, hold it there, give it a prod. Now I want you to lift one leg to tabletop. Okay, just keep it there. Tabletop is 90 degrees. Okay, now take another deep breath in, and on the out breath, lift the other one. Now what you'll feel, hopefully, if you've got this right, is your legs feel quite heavy and your core's taking all of that. Now, if you have got this correct and you're at 90 degrees, this really shouldn't be that easy. If it's too easy, if it literally is easy, bring your feet back down and start again, because they should be quite, they're taking the whole of your leg weights. They should be feel quite engaged. The other thing is that you shouldn't be able to get your hands underneath your back. So I want you to make sure that you're using that core and bringing that back nice and flat. Okay, so we're holding it here. You should definitely be able to breathe. For goodness sake, don't hold your breath. But it should be quite tight here. I'd like to put your hands down by the side, and then we're just going to do it. Start simple. So bring your foot down and tap your toe onto the floor, and then bring it back up. And we're going to alternate. So little taps and back down. Hopefully you should be able to see me okay. Little tap and back up. Now each time when you bring that leg down, your back shouldn't curve. You're going to need to use your core to keep that stable. Now, again, as I said, if you've got this right, it shouldn't be that easy at all. You should be like, oh my God. Tap and back up. And let's go one more each side. Tap nice and slowly, nice and deliberately. And back up. Really try and stop that back from curving. Tap and back up. Right, one foot down onto the floor. The other foot down onto the floor, and relax. Right, if you've got that right, definitely should be switched on now. Okay, right, if you're like, yeah, that's fine, that's absolutely fine, we'll go a tad more advanced. If you're really starting to struggle, I really want you to just practice holding that in and then bringing those legs up and just making sure that you're feeling like it's engaged and doing something. Okay, so let's start from scratch. Deep breath in, engage, lift one, and lift the other. So really feel that engaged. Okay, right. Now what I want you to do is we're going to lift your legs up and straight and flex the toes and point and back down. Okay, up, gets the back of your legs, this one, flex, point and down. Keep it there, up, flex, point and down. Right, moving your legs very slightly closer together, we're going to do something called a chair. There's two ways of doing a chair pose, one's up and one's on the floor. This is a chair pose with your back on the floor. Your legs are at 90 at least, if not a tiny bit further out, and your hands are just resting very gently on the top of your knees. Now, you should be able to relax your shoulders, but the whole of your weight is being held here, right at your lower abs. This shouldn't be easy. Holding it there. Fine at first, and it adds up. Nice deep breath. Excellent. Okay, keep your legs there, bringing your hands down. This is slightly more advanced, so please leave it here if you want to. We're going to bring both legs down and back up. So you haven't disengaged, it should still be fully engaged. Bring both legs down, tap, and back up. And don't worry about how far out, just as long as they're tapping at the moment. Now, if you're finding that your back is completely and utterly bowing, go back to singles, okay? So go back to one leg at a time. This is quite a lot more advanced, so pick the level, please. Okay, let's go 2 more. Tap. Oh, this isn't easy. And back up. And tap. Back up. 1 foot down, the other foot down. Completely release. Very, very good. If you managed all of that, excellent, absolutely excellent. That really should have engaged there now. Okay, just to release yourself out of that, feet and knees together, and then just flop. As I said to Karina earlier, delicately and beautifully flop to one side. With grace and composure, flop to one side. That's it, both shoulders on the floor, and just make sure that you're feeling comfortable, so your legs should be nice and flat on the floor. If you can't quite get to the floor, then if you want to put a pillow underneath just to make that a little bit more comfortable, please do. But the main point is ensuring that shoulder is also staying on the floor. Okay, take a deep breath in and then bring that up. Okay, now we're going to flop over to the other side. Okay, relax your shoulders. Nice and deep breath. And deep breath in and lift. Excellent. Right, let's exaggerate that slightly more. So I want you to bring your foot up to your knee now. And then we're going to bring the whole lot down. So it should be more of an exaggeration. When you're down here, it's quite gentle. When you're up here, it's stronger. So again, if it's too much, just bring your foot back down. So we're going to come all the way across now. Now, if your knee won't touch the floor, that's not a problem. Just holding it to get that stretch. Now, not only should you get that stretch all the way around your core area, which is the back and the front, but it's just here as well, which you have just worked. Deep breath. Okay, using your oblique muscles, which are here, deep breath in and lift. Lift on the out breath. Oh, that's it. Bring yourself up. And we're swapping legs. Okay, so you're bringing that over nice and slowly. All the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Hold your knee with your hand if you want to. Just exaggerates the stretch even further, just making sure that shoulder's on the floor. If you want to stretch this a little bit further, I want you to look over. I can't because of my earpiece, but look away from your knee. sure you get a nice deep breath. Okay, deep breath in, and then you're going to bring that up. On the out breath, lift. Good. Okay, bring your both knees in and just little tiny circles. Now you should get this right in the base of your back. It should be nice, especially if you have been sat down a lot. It's usually quite tight there. Okay, and bring yourself back down. Right, let's do a tiny bit more concentration on your core. Check the time, all good. So hands behind your head. So we're going to do a little bit of a core and oblique work. The reason you just stretch your obliques out is because we're going to do a little bit of work on it. So when you're doing anything regarding core with Pilates, I want you to slow everything down. This is not a HIIT session, so you don't need to do this quickly. So we're going to first practice a good old crunch, but then I'm going to add an oblique twist to it. So you're going to tilt your pelvis. So I've just exaggerated that bit. Tilt your pelvis. Make sure your back's nice and flat on the floor. Feet are nice and flat on the floor. And then you're going to lift your head and lift your nose up to the ceiling. Okay? So lifting your head and your shoulders off the floor. Now, obviously, you can't see too much from the jumper, but you're just floating off the floor, and where it should be, nowhere else, is right here. Okay, so your first two ab sets there. Holding it there. Now the oblique part is you're going to lift one hand off and then come across. Okay, so you're coming across to meet your opposite leg. Bring yourself back, keep yourself off the floor, and then back over the other side. Okay, and roll it down nice and gently, elbows out and relax. Deep breath in, we're going to do that again. Out breath, lift your head, lift your shoulders, squeeze, really engage here. And now we're going to come across and back and across and back. Really concentrate on breathing. Roll it down and head down, relax, deep breath in. And lift again. One more, lift, up and across. So breathing in now and across, breathing out. Right, making it a little bit harder. We'll do one more up whilst we're up here. Breathe in, breathe out. Oh, should be tough. And breathe in, breathe out. Hold it there. Bring it back, shoulders down, head down. Relax. Okay, top set there. Should be feeling that. Should be feeling lovely. Right. So let's engage a little bit lower. So I'm going to ask you to put your hands underneath your bum, but what you're doing is creating a little platform. So your hands are just stopping your back from curving. So it should be nice and flat on the floor now. It should be comfortable, okay, not your hands squashed. So what I want to do is, again, we're going to advance this a little bit more over about 4 moves. So we're going to bring one leg out, just shoot one leg out, and then shoot one leg back. And let's go the opposite. So shoot it out nice and straight. If you can't straighten your leg without your back really, really curving, just don't straighten it, okay? So just bring it to about there. If you can straighten it without your back really starting to curl, then absolutely bring that out. And the other side, squeeze out, that's it. Squeeze those abs and back in. And let's go one more each side, bring it out, nice and gently. And again, out. Nice straight leg and back in. Lovely. Right. If you're like, that's not a problem, all good, then we're going to do 2. So bringing it out both at the same time. If you can, straighten, and then back in. And let's go again. Just making sure that your back is not taking that. So as I said, if you're like, oh, I can't, just bring it out to a certain point just before that back really starts to curve, and then bring it back in. Not a problem, we'll get you there. Okay, let's go one more. So knees nice and in, and let's push them away. Nice and straight. Hold it. Come on, abs. Oh, 3, 2, 1, and back in. Just release your hands and just give them a little shake. Lovely. Okay, tiny, tiny, tiny rocks from one side to the other. Absolutely excellent work. Right. Okay. I want to finish a little bit of abs with some very, very, really nice, simple roll out, roll downs because they get a good set all the way. So just use your hands and just rock yourself up. Just give yourself a second because you have been on the floor for a sec. So straighten your legs. And if you can flex your toes, that would be great. So we're going to touch your toes, if you can, and then we're going to roll back. So hands, now when you're rolling back, don't just, you need to curve, okay, really curve. Curl that pelvis all the way down, nice and slowly. Use your tummy as a brake. Arms up and back, deep breath in, all the way up, lifting your head. Curl your hands nice and slowly towards. Now, what you'll find is if you can't quite do that smoothly, you'll learn it. It takes quite a while for it not to jump. So if you're not quite there yet, it's just practice. So just really try and curve it down. Relax your shoulders. Curl, 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 nice and slowly. All the way back. Deep breath in. Don't do that, Harry. Bring it up. Lift your head. Curl, 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 curl. Use your tummy. And touching your toes. Okay, let's go one more. Just really try and get that really nice, slow, controlled move. This can be quite advanced, this one, if you do it really slowly. Just remember your breathing. When you're lifting up, breathe out. And wherever you are, just finish the one that you're doing. Wonderful. Okay, right, so whilst we're up here, I just want you to cross your legs. Just obviously just making sure you can see me, just cross your legs. Now hips might be super tight, core very much engaged now, should be feeling, oh my God. Just cross your legs however's most comfortable. But what I normally say to people is, can you try not to put your foot underneath your leg, because basically that stops your hip. So if you can just spread your feet a tiny bit wider, so one's right in and one is less right in. Usually, particularly if you're right-handed, the right leg will be forward. If you're left-handed, the left leg is likely to be forward. So you've got just, ability to move your knees up and down. Now, it may well be that you're up here. That's absolutely fine. If you're like, I can't, it might be that you're just flat straight on the floor. We'll work with what you have, but just as long as you are relatively comfortable. If you do need to put a cushion underneath your bum because you're not comfortable, then please do that. So again, I said that I was going to come back to this plane of movement with your back. It's probably the most important one because it's the one that gets most stiff. So we're going to do a slight advancement on that one. So if you want to put your hands, one hand across and then one hand behind, I want to just twist that. Take a deep breath, look over your shoulder and then bring it back to center. Again, should feel strong but nice. The other side, hand behind and then twist. Okay, and then bring it back to center. Let's go one more time. So over and then twist it down. Now, what I don't want your knees to do is start coming up. So keep them nice and low. Bring it around. Try and keep your back relatively straight. And bring it back to center. And then one more. Over, backwards, and twist. And bring it back to center. Lovely. Okay, one arm up and over this way, and just keep that bum cheeks on the floor, both of them. Lovely. Nice and tall and up and over. Wonderful. Okay. Now bringing that forward, this is really going to help your hips. I'm going to do this slightly to the side so you can see. Hands in front of you, and then I want you to walk your hands forward. Okay, walk them forward and try and get them as far away from you as possible. Drop your head. Now, if you're doing that, just carry on. If you're doing that and you're up here and you're like, I can't get anywhere near the floor, just put your hands as far as they can and just drop your head forward. But if not, you're coming right down and relax. That's it. Roll yourself out of that and then just give your shoulders a little roll. Okay. Right, we're going to, before we come up, I just want to do one tiny thing, and it's a balance. We're going to do a bit of balance work, but I want to do one of them down here. It's not exactly the easiest, and it does get your hip flexors. So I really want you to try and concentrate on the hip flexors. They do get a bit of a stretch, but they have to be worked. So we're going to put on feet and knees together. And the first stage I want you to do is put your hands behind you. Okay, so just back nice and straight, but put your hands behind you. And what we're going to do is lift up. Okay, so just lift your feet off the floor. Now, if you're like, I can't do that, just lift one off the floor. That will get your hip flexor. You should feel it right in there. That little set of muscles there. And then the other one. But if you're perfectly okay, and you lean back further if you want to, if you're perfectly okay to bring them up, just bring them up and just hold it here. Squeeze your shoulder blades back very slightly and just try and keep that nice and neat. Try not to wobble and try to get your hip flexors to do that work. Your core has to engage. And this is balance number one. Got a nice amount of time. We're all fine. And bring it back down. Now, people who've been to this class many times, my balance can be sporadic, so let's see what it's doing today. So we're going to exaggerate that slightly. If you're like, no, that was hard enough as it is, thank you very much, then please stay where you are. If you want to, we're going to actually remove the hands. So we're going to go to that position first with your legs, so just bring your toes off the floor. And then with your hands, put them to the front. So that's a V-sit hold. So you should have your back nice and straight, your shoulders should be nice and relaxed, arms straight, feet off the floor, knees bent, and use those hip flexors right in here and your lower core to hold you. 3, 2, and 1. Just rock forwards and release out of that. Okay. So if you're like, yeah, bring it on, that wasn't that bad, then we can advance that a tiny bit more. So we're actually going to bring our arms out now. So either start back here or start with your hands on the floor. Bring those feet up. The closer your knees are, the harder this is, by the way. So if you bring them nice and close, bring them up, and then you're going to bring that out. Holding it here, your shoulders have actually got to do a bit of work, but you should feel like, oh, right there. Okay. Based on what I've done today, I'm feeling it. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands down and rock forwards and just release out of that. Excellent. Right. So obviously, as with me, there's always a harder way of doing everything. Please note this is really much more advanced. So if you're like, can't do that at all, just stick with wherever level you've got to. If you straighten your legs, that's a lot harder. Now, I can't really do that for very long. Maybe even one leg, just give it a go. So if you, to do this, you need to rock back slightly more. So if you're right up, it's really hard. But just rock back slightly more. Hands down onto the floor. You're going to straighten your legs. And then when you're ready, if you can, we're going to take those hands off. That's as much as I can do. See, my jumper was stopping me. If you manage that at all, amazingness. It's always good to just give yourself a further challenge that you want to work on. So we'll practice that full one when you can. Right. So we're going to do a few more balances up now. So I'll never just ask you to stand up. If you can just come back around onto all fours. And whilst we're here, just a little cat stretch, just actually stretching out those hip flexors, and a cow, which stretches out the abs that you've just worked. And one more all the way up, really create that little bridge arch, and through, release. Okay, coming back to neutral, tucking your toes under. We're going to go back into that downward dog. So lift and push back. Really feel the back of your legs get a good old stretch there. And you're going to walk your hands back to your feet. Try and keep your legs straight if you can. If you can't, you're bending the legs, so I'm just going to move. Okay, and then we're going to roll it up nice and slowly. Head last. Roll your shoulders, deep breath in. Nice big stretch, and back down. Lovely. Right, we're up. So you might be feeling, just give yourself a second because we have been on the floor for a while. We're going to finish with a nice little bit of balance work. So if you can, oh, that's a bit too high. Hopefully you can see me okay. I'll move around if you can't. So going to keep it quite simple today, but I just want you to have a go. We're actually going to do, we haven't done this for a little while, a chair pose upright now. So we did the chair pose on the floor, but we're going to give it a go, and then I'm going to advance that. So we're going to start with putting your hands onto your hips and sit backwards. So it's actually a squat position. The first bit's a squat. So what I want you to think about is, and not that you can see this off camera, I want you to be able to wriggle your toes. So sit right back, hands on your hips, and just wriggle your toes. Okay, quads should be doing the work there. Karina, they might be feeling a little bit tight. And bring yourself back up and just give them a shake off. Okay, so let's do that again, and we'll add the arms in. So sit yourself backwards, quite far backwards, and then to be able to wriggle your toes. Holding it here, back nice and straight. And then you're going to bring your arms in. So we're sitting back, bringing those arms in. This is your chair pose. Holding it here. Get your legs to do the work. Find your balance. Haven't gone too mental with the balance yet. 3, 2, and 1. And bring yourself up nice and slowly. Excellent. Right. Thighs should feel that. Oh, give yourself a shake. Okay, so making that more difficult is obviously on one leg. So let's just make life more difficult. So what you do is just cross one leg over the other. You're keeping your toe on the floor still at the moment. Cross one leg over the other. Then what you're going to do is sit back with your leg crossed. So sit, I'm going to do this a little bit lower, sorry. So cross your leg, then you're going to sit back with your leg crossed. So like you're sat at a desk, but with your leg crossed, but you are balancing on one leg. So hands onto your hips at the moment, and really try to concentrate. You might be wobbling around a bit. If you are really struggling, just you can put your foot down on the floor, but ideally I want it off the floor because obviously that's more challenging. Once you've got that, if you have got that, we're going to bring those arms in. So we're here. Cross-legged chair pose. Significantly harder than the chair pose in itself, but you have got to hold it. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring yourself back. Lift yourself up. Oh, that leg. Give yourself a shake out. Oh. Right, other side. So plant that foot nice and solidly, up and over. Then you're going to sit back. Now I can't sit back too much because my knee's going to cave in. So apologies if this is a little bit higher. You need to sit right back on the stool that's imaginary. Crossing that leg, just keep your balance, keep your mind nice and still. Breathe. And then we're going to lift those arms up. Sit back into that chair pose. Let your legs do the work. Back nice and straight. Arms right by your ears. Beautiful work. I can't look at the screen whilst I'm doing this. I'll wobble. And 3, 2, and 1. And bring it up. Oh, legs. Excellent work. Right, just give them a good old shake out. Fantastic. If you manage that, excellent work. So cross-legged chair pose, excellent stuff. Right, finishing as we always finish with 3 little sweeps, and close your eyes if you want to. It's quite a lot more difficult if you do close your eyes. Feet hip width apart, and we're going to sweep down Nice big stretch all the way up, arms up to the ceiling and just lift up onto your toes. Super big stretch and bring it down, arms down. And when you come up and take a deep breath in, squeeze your glutes slightly. Nice and tall. And one more. Close your eyes if you dare. All the way up. I'm watching. Up. I'm not going to close my eyes because I'm going to fall over. And bring yourself down. Wonderful stuff. Absolutely brilliant work, everyone. Really excellent. Just one sec.